Judas and the Black Messiah movie review. Haven't done a movie review in a while, so please, we're gonna continue to do our movie reviews. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can be notified when we release new videos. So check it out. The movie was triggering for me because, you know, if you don't want to see black people in a manner which they're being oppressed, and or any people for that matter, then the movie can consider to be triggering. It was a good film by no stretch of the imagination. The only thing I could say, Lakeith Stanfield, who has become one of my favorite actors, is one of my favorite actors after this performance. Like, his performances are mind-blowing at this point. He's like riding high. And Daniel Kaluuya and Lakeith Stanfield teaming up for this movie is just sheer brilliance. The energy they brought to this film was outstanding. It was a great movie, or it is a great movie. Now, I didn't have any issues with the film itself. Shaka King did a great job. He wrote the film with a writer called Will Burson. And I like the credit that they gave other writers, so other people. I would hate to be the fourth man on the team that receiving other writers credit on that, but yeah. So nonetheless, he wrote it with Bill Burson wrote it with Shaka King, who directed the masterpiece. And I'm calling it a masterpiece because it's probably going to go down. This is the kind of film that you would think Spike Lee would make, but Shaka came out, did his thing on it. Don't know the guy personally. As a director, his work he seemed to be getting out there and getting this. This is most certainly going to is a groundbreaking film that's going to make him a household name. So kudos to Shaka King for putting together or directing a great piece, and the writers. The writers do as much of a great job laying out the blueprint. I am a director, so I can tell you that writers lay out the blueprint for directors to follow. Directors bring their style to it, but writers are the ones who pretty much tell the camera where to go and the actors where to go and all the rest of it. And they lay out descriptions and things of that nature. So you guys know what writers do. I just think that Will Burson really needs to get as much credit for writing this wonderful piece of film as much as Shaka King is going to get for directing it. And I like to say that there were a lot of people of color behind the scenes for the first time ever, you know, on a film like this. Now, mind you, black people's history with Hollywood. And a powerful film like this, and I'm going to get into the Fred Hampton story, but a powerful film like the Fred Hampton story, which highlights the law enforcement murdering him in his bed, and the various things that happened with him and the Black Panther Party and the government basically coming against them. Like, this was a really touchy, story to tell. And I was really interested in the filmmakers' handling of this. How were they going to do it? Were they going to play it safe? Did they want to upset anyone? But they didn't. And that's the good part. They did not play it safe. They went in and they told the story, and they said, listen, I left triggered because I'll get into that later. But, has a lot to do with William O'Neill at the end. And we all probably was triggered by William O'Neill by the end, but that's the way the story was told. But for another reason, I have a feeling or I'm going to explain why I was triggered by William O'Neill. But for the most part, this was a touching story. Now, Fred Hampton was a 21-year-old man. That is young. And 21-year-olds today, you wouldn't give them to run a company. But the 21-year-olds in 1960 that were involved in they were serious. They were serious individuals. They knew what they were talking about. And I'm not going to say you don't have serious 21-year-olds today. I digress. I take that back. But more than likely 21-year-olds today are going to be on their phones, chewing bubblegum, skateboarding, or maybe running a Fortune 500 company on Instagram. Who knows? But for the most part, these guys were serious back then, and he was actually executed at 21. He had a strong voice. He put together a strong movement in Chicago. He was running the Chicago division of the Black Panther movement. They were in California. They were in Chicago. They were all over the nation. But L.A. Had a strong movement. Chicago had a strong movement. Detroit, New York had a very strong movement, and all the rest of it. So when you talk about the Black Panther movement, like this, Fred Hampton's story is that he was really spearheading the movement in Chicago. He was making noise nationally, which got the attention of the FBI and which got the attention of J. Edgar Hoover. All of this was highlighted in the film. I'm not saying anything new. So in Fred Hampton's story, there's no spoiler alerts here. We all know a story. They just made it into a motion picture. So, but for the most part, Fred Hampton, 21 years old, shot to death while he lay in bed. And to me, I never really understood why. Like, I read Fred Hampton's story years ago, and it always, befounded me. Like, it confused me. Like, why was this guy why was he asleep, laying in bed? And I didn't know until I watched this film and I read articles, but I've never come across the piece of information that said that he was drugged by William O'Neill. None of this information about Fred Hampton being drugged was actually in the news articles. It was just saying that, he was shot to death in his bed. And now we know that he was actually drugged by an informant and he couldn't wake up, which allowed them to come in and raid the place and, basically take the guy, take his life in a hail of bullets. It was a gruesome, gruesome, gruesome murder. And I like to say that the filmmakers did not sugarcoat it at all. I don't know who gave them the green light, because usually we all know the system comes against you when you try to make a movie like this. We know the drill now. We know the drill now. So it's just kind of like, but they got the green light. I don't know who gave them the green light, but somebody gave them the green light to go ahead and make this movie and tell somewhat of the truth, because we don't all know the dirty details, but it was enough in this movie for us to get the idea, okay, powers that be had this guy murdered, and that was the end of the story for him. But like Fred Hampton said, you can kill the revolutionary, but you can't kill a revolution. So, and his message was carried on years later by his son and things of that nature, and other people in his organization. So, but for the most part, like I said, it was an amazing film, amazing performance. Man, it was just one of those things where I left, and this is the part that was triggering to me, because I watched the film and it was told through the perspective of William O'Neill's character. Now, William O'Neill, of course, is the antagonist of the movie. He was most certainly was going to, raise your blood pressure from watching some of his treacherous actions. This guy was doing everything that he could to subdue Fred Hampton, which was triggering for me, because I left the movie, or after finished watching the film, I just, couldn't help from not liking the character. But you would say simple, right? But I'm thinking that after watching the film, you would think that the emphasis would be on the powers that be that forced William O'Neill to make the decisions that he made. Like they did, basically lure him in with money to do the things that he did to Fred Hampton, and he took the bait. Unfortunately, many of us do, that turn into informants and things of that nature. They take the bait and they go in and they betray, whoever. And that was the thing. Like, I left the movie with disliking the antagonist, which a good antagonist is going to do his job. You're not going to like him. But I felt like the real corruption was I didn't feel like I didn't like what they did, but it was almost to me that they weren't highlighted as the real enemy. William O'Neill was the one that took the brunt of all the lashes in this. I get it. I do know that this is a movie about his betrayal. I do get it. So, but at the end of the day, like I said, we watched a film and I'm just like, here it is. This is a movie about a guy who was murdered by the system, and I leave it hating another black person. And that's why I was just kind of like, it's triggering because it's like, it's the same thing. Like, we make we see these Hollywood films, and kudos to the producers of this movie, the people that put it together. They had people of color behind the scenes, and they had people of color in front of. Like, this was truly a effort by really some intelligent black people, and they did the job. And we can show, and the thing is that Hollywood is now giving us the opportunity to continue to make films because we are very capable. We can write, we can produce, we can produce and direct great pieces of art without anyone's help. Like, we can do this. All we need is the money and the opportunity to get our message out, right? So, and now we are starting to see the doors crack open a little to allow us to, experience some of these opportunities. So for the most part, it's just kind of like, it was an amazing film, and I was glad that black writers got a chance to actually tell the story, because Hollywood has a history of making films about the black experience and black leaders that were written by non-blacks. And I'm always at question like, well, if we aren't telling our stories, then who's controlling the narrative? Who's controlling our narrative? And that is a real issue that we're having with Hollywood today. Like, black people, let me just tell you that I've gone to a lot of different work as a filmmaker. I'm always pitching stories, talking to other producers, trying to get work out there. That's just part of the job. But I'm always coming across white writers, and this doesn't have anything to do with color, but I'll come across white writers who are writing black stories. And I'm always at awe, like, black people need to be telling these stories. Like, it's almost like you asking a white person to write about slavery, and I'm always wondering, like, how can a white person tell this story about slavery? Or why should they? Like, black people should be telling stories, telling our stories. And that's just my opinion. Long story short, like I said, the film was an excellent portrayal. I was triggered. The film was excellently portrayed. I was triggered by William O'Neill's character, as I should have been. Lakeith Stanfield did such an amazing job. I just loved to hate him by the end. I was just like, oh, I was gritting my teeth because I just couldn't believe it. And the end, the ending of the film almost felt like a small documentary. Like, it really got a lot of small details that they just left out of the film, and actual clips of William O'Neill talking about, speaking on, his portrayal and some of the things that he did or whatever. And what was sad to, see was that this guy actually committed suicide after Eyes on the Prize video aired, I think in the 80s, which showed, or which highlighted some of his betrayal of Fred Hampton, and the guy committed suicide, which is really sad. And it begs the question, like, he sold his soul, for what, a gas station, a couple of dollars, to live nice, to dress nice, and they held over his head like, actual prison time. Like, did you want to go to prison, or did you, would you rather go to prison, or would you want to betray this guy? And ultimately, like, he took the easy road out. I mean, it's a classic story. He took the easy road out, and he paid with his life. And at the end, I mean, this is a classic tale. At the end, it was not worth it. It's a classic tale. And I see why that they chose to use William O'Neill to tell this story, because, it is one of those things where, you got a balancing scale of justice. And ultimately, he took the gold instead of his own, sanity, doing what's right. And there you have it. So, hey man, look, listen, Judas and the Black Messiah, excellent movie. It's going to be an award-winning film. I expect it to win some awards. I expect the actors to win some awards. Man, especially Daniel Kaluuya. Like, I've never seen, like, this guy has done some amazing work thus far. And I just love, like I said, I love the fact that he teamed up with Lakeith Stanfield. Those two together on screen, what reminds me of Al Pacino, Robert De Niro. People's like, not that good. You crazy if it wasn't. You are crazy. That performance, if not equal or better than Robert De Niro and Al Pacino in their heyday. Like, these guys really did an amazing job. So, and they deserve to be awarded just so. And Shaka King and the writers as well. It's an amazing film, man. It's an amazing film. But like I said, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. See you guys on the next review. Peace.